Hi everyone, I'm Marlise.
And I'm Elyse.
And we're Outlandish. And we just got out of the panel for Blood of My Blood.
Well, Matt and Meryl, welcome back.
Yeah. It's like deja vu.
As we saw in the trailer, Brian and Ellen's story starts at the beginning of their relationship, but Henry and Julia are a more established couple. So do we get to see the beginning of their love story as well? Because you do beginnings of love stories so well.
Thank you, that was nice. We do, the way this show was crafted, it was, one, kind of the first episode is Brian and Ellen, and the second episode is really more about establishing Henry and Julia. And so, it would probably be a really good idea if we just on August 8th showed episode 1 and 2.
Yes!
If you yell loud enough, maybe stars will listen.
I just heard confirmed we're going to do that. So we're going to see the first 2 episodes. That is really, really exciting. So, the Outlander universe has been around for over a decade. It's an impressive feat. And congratulations are in order since this prequel series was already renewed for season 2 ahead of its premiere. So you can get invested. I know you already are, but Matt, tell us a little bit about what was going through your head when you decided to expand the world by diving into the backstory of not only Jamie, but also Claire's parents.
It originated because there's a thread in the book about Claire, or Jamie's parents, how they, met and eloped, and we started to really talk about that at the end of season 4, and you wanted to explore it and see what we could do with it, and then I really couldn't figure out a way to tell that story more than what it is in the book, in the sense of, it's just they get married and move to Lollybrook and, have kids. One of them's Jamie. And then, I was kind of a little struggling with it, and I did the what if game, and I said, what if they didn't die? And I actually went to Meryl's office and I said, what if they lived in the accident? And she got a look on her face, and I thought, okay, we got something here. So we went back and started working on it, and just not just show what if they lived, what if they were integral to having Jamie and Claire meet. And so that's when it really took off, and we started to really explore. We talked to Stars and Sony, and they really liked the idea, and here we are.
Here we are with this beautiful cast, incredible. I will applaud for them over and over again, I'll tell you that. So learning that Claire's parents are time travelers really flips everything Outlander fans thought they knew about them, right?
I think some of them had an idea, because how does Claire have the gene, and
So are there more surprises in store?
None.
No surprises?
None whatsoever. Yes. What's great about the shows, for people who have never seen Outlander, it's there all for you, and fresh take on Scotland. We dive into the culture of Scotland, but if you're an Outlander fan and you've seen every episode, there's nuggets all the way through that you will be surprised of maybe who you might see or what you might see, and how Jamie and Claire kind of became Jamie and Claire.
Meryl, was there something that you considered very important to put in as maybe one of these little surprises, or?
It's so hard in these panels. You're like, what can I say that's not a spoiler? I don't know if there's anything specific, but I once again think Matt and the writers did such an amazing job crafting it's very hard to follow Outlander, and I was very nervous, and I think this idea that Matt had about including Claire's parents and the fact that they're integral in Jamie and Claire eventually coming together was such a key moment. But I think this show does such an amazing job of being tied to Outlander, being part of that Outlander universe, and having those little Easter eggs that Outlander fans will go, oh my God, that's so-and-so. But yet you can come, as Matt said, and be new to it, and it's still an amazing show. I mean, that trailer, I've watched it 50 times probably, and it's still just as exciting the first time. And these actors have come in and just created a whole new energetic show that's just so engaging.
Well, Hermione, you play a key role, Julia, who is Claire's mom. And Outlander fans know the least about Claire's parents, Julia and Henry, beyond Claire's belief they died in a car accident when she was little. When did you find out they would be time travelers, and what was your immediate reaction?
I found out the first time I read the first script, and I was relieved because I was like, otherwise the character would have showed up in First World War and then disappeared quite quickly. So I was like, phew, I'm in it for more than an episode. And so yeah, that was, I suppose, part of the exciting thing about the character. I mean, it's so important, in Claire's whole journey, and for it to be something that Julia experiences as well. Just, I think, it's a lovely mirroring effect, but it's also its own original story.
Well, you did get to act across multiple time periods, at least for a bit. Do you have a preference for the 1700s or the 1900s?
Oh, it's hard. A lot of bad things happen in the 1700s, I'll say that. It's not easy out there. But maybe kind of interesting to play. I think in terms of acting, I'd say 1700s.
Yes!
Big cheers from the 1700s crew here.
And I only really have Jeremy as well in the First World War. I've got all this lot in the 1700s.
Well, Hermione, I would also like to know, Claire is such an iconic character, and parents and children often share traits. What traits would you say they share, and did you study Katrina's performance at all?
I would say I admired it, and I watched it, and I had watched it before, and so I revisited it for sure. I never wanted to do an impression of Katrina, because I think that doesn't, I want to respect her performance, and it's its own thing, of course. So I'd say there are elements of it I sort of brought in to Julia, but I would say that they are very much their own characters. They both have an intelligence, they both are very resourceful, and very romantic. I think they also both have a real soft side and a romance that you get to see with all of their relationships.
And did you and Kat get to meet? Did you spend time with her?
We did, yeah. We've met several times, and she was lovely and warm, and just really supportive. Yeah.
Well, Jamie, same question to you. You play the father of an iconic character. What traits does he share with his son? And did you study Sam's performance?
Yeah, I think, first of all, they're both quite brave. They're both romantic, very handsome, so be told. But yeah, no, we
Very humble as well.
Extremely. No, one of the first things Matt and I talked about, when we came on board, was that he didn't want a carbon copy of Jamie, because obviously he's the culmination of two parents. So we really wanted Brian to be his own man, his own character, so which was great because it kind of freed me from, any expectations or pressures, and just to kind of find Brian naturally. But then I think, the casting team have done such a wonderful job, with all of us, because we all kind of share, the single whoop, we all do share characteristics, I think, with the people who played, the older versions of ourselves. So I didn't really study Sam's performance as much, but I feel like, so I've been told, we're quite similar in personalities. So any things that you see on the screen, which you think might be I think that's just a really nice, happy coincidence.
And did you spend time with Sam?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we met for a coffee first of all. And then
was it really just a coffee?
Well, it swiftly moved on to a few whiskeys. When I say a few, I think I lost count after 3.
That sounds like Sam. Well, another group that we've seen the older versions of, Sam, Seamus, and Rory. We've seen Dougal, Colum, and Murtaugh. So you're playing younger versions of these characters that appeared in Outlander and were very, very much beloved. Did you study the performances of those actors?
I have to confess, no, but for the same reason that Hermione said, which is I'm a very bad mimic, so it wouldn't have come off well for anyone. The good thing is we have the books, and so you're kind of drinking from the same well of information about how to build a character, but coming at it from a very different angle. Also, there's a lot of Outlander, as I'm sure you know. So I spent the time learning my lines rather than learning all the lines from seasons 1 to 7. Yeah.
Well said. I like that.
I did. I watched Gary's performance, but I think one of the fun things about this job was like the fact it's a coming of age story, really, and we get to see the formative years of these characters. So it's the how of to end up to Gary Lewis. It's like people change. Matt's talked about that as well. So having the opportunity to just kind of figure out what Colin was like in his younger years and live in that was really fun. But yeah, Gary, I did watch him. He's amazing. But it just like the scripts were all there for me. So I just yeah, it was easy enough to just get into his body, the younger Colin.
Mine was quite easy. I just ate lots of food and grew a big beard. That's good fun. But no, yeah, I had a look at Graham's work, and just to add on to what Seamus said, it's such a lovely thing that you guys know the end game. You know these beautiful characters, and if we just get this beautiful opportunity to show you how they get there. There's so much that changes them over their life, that knocks them and brings them up again to end up where you know them, and it's just been an absolute privilege to fill in those gaps. And yeah, it's a fantastic world. We're so excited to let you into.
Absolutely.
Well, this casting is incredible, and Matt and Errol, there's been a lot of talk about it and the incredible physical similarities between this cast and the actors from Outlander. Hello, Hermione and Katrina. Very, very similar. Which role was the easiest for you to cast?
Well, it's funny. In the beginning of Outlander, we kind of joked, "Oh my God, we're never going to find Jamie. He's going to be the, UPS guy or the FedEx guy," and we found Sam first. And same thing happened here. I was like, ugh, it's going to be so hard to find Brian. It's going to be easier to find Ellen. And same thing. We found Jamie first. We had actually started to cast him for a role in Outlander, and all of the writers and we were like, wow, he looks a lot like Sam. That's so weird. Oh, maybe we should hold him for the prequel. But the prequel hadn't been greenlit yet, so we were like, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe we'll cast him. And then I was talking to Karen Bailey at Starz, and she was like, God, he looks a lot like Sam Yu, and she'll be staying for the prequel. And so here we are. So, it turned out that lightning struck twice, and but honestly, with all of them, I mean, huge shout out to Jamie Payne, who was our kickoff director, and Matt, and also Suzanne Smith and her team. I mean, really, I feel so lucky. It was hard to cast Outlander, and I was very daunted by this cast, but really, everyone here there's something about them that embodies the original character, and they've just stepped in and made it their own, and it's a really fantastic cast. I can't wait for you to see them.
Well, it's of course based on the massively popular book series by Diana Gabaldon, and she's a consulting producer on Blood of My Blood. So what did she think when you first shared your idea to include Claire's parents and have them time travel?
Well, we wouldn't be sitting here if she thought otherwise. She, at least said to me it was a good idea. She didn't want to explore it herself, but she said go for it. And I thanked her and I went for it. But she's all on board. She's actually, she wrote on the show, so you're going to see, her episode too. So I think she's fully committed to the show.
Which episode did she write?
She wrote episode 9 of the first season, and she and I co-wrote the finale.
Okay. We have that to look forward to. Matt and Diana, pretty good team here. So we're going to show another clip for you guys, and you're going to be the first ones to see it. Yes.
That's the
At the heart Heart of Blood of My Blood are two pivotal love stories that as we've been talking about, and we start at the very beginning of Brian and Ellen's courtship, that instant connection. Oh, wait till you see this, you guys. That moment they first meet, but they soon find out that their relationship will face some pretty steep obstacles. Let's take a peek at this clip. There is something. Oh, Harriet. Oh, it looks like they are, a forbidden romance is brewing here. But why is their love undeniable?
Yeah, for sure. It's very much a Romeo and Juliet situation they've got going on. That's actually the second time they meet. The very first time you see in the trailer is in the barn, and they spy each other through the slats in the wooden fence. And it kind of reminded us all a bit of the scene in Romeo and Juliet with the fish tank. That was my first thought when I read it. I think it's such a beautiful scene. But yeah, this is the scene where we realize who we are, because when we first meet, we have no idea. They just kind of really fancy each other. And then they meet on the bridge and discover that they're from rival clans, which is not good news, but it's too late. They've already fallen in love.
It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw you guys were talking a little bit while it was running. Jamie, were you noticing anything about that scene?
I was just, every time I see that, it just takes me back to actually filming that. Has anyone ever been to Scotland before? Okay, so you know the weather, you can have like 4 different seasons in one day. Well, that was what happened with that scene. I mean, I think it started with rain, then it was sleet, and the sun came out for about 30 seconds, and then it was overcast, and then we finally got to film it, but my God, it was cold. It was so cold. To the point where, like, at the end of each take, you know, we would meet, you know, we would get there, and just, you know, a few minute long scene, but my face would just freeze up. And I would say to Harriet, like, was I saying words there? I'm not sure. And she was like, you did great, honey, you did, yeah, it's great.
We got back to the tent after to eat lunch, and you had to wait about 20 minutes to eat your lunch.
I couldn't chew my sandwich, yeah. I was starving as well.
Oh, the entire cast of Outlander is going, you know.
Oh, it's like, yeah, you don't know.
You don't know nothing, yeah.
Buckle up, buddy.
Well, Matt and Meryl, without spoiling anything for those who might be new to Outlander, can you explain why these different clans are such a big deal?
Yeah, Matt, can you?
That was so sweet, but yeah, they're rival clans. They're property. They want it. They want to be richer. They want to have more land. They want to have more tenants. And you know, there's the politics in this show is something that we get to do on Blood that we didn't necessarily do on Outlander as much. So the family dynamics is a very big deal as well. And it's not only rival clans, but it's rivals within your own clan. And I think, you know, we'll delve in that with Colum and I'm going to say Sam, but Dougal. And they really, you know, in the first season, they're really trying to figure out who's the rightful laird. Anybody?
I will be laird.
I will be laird.
And so we'll dive into that, and then Ellen is in the mix in that because of how her father felt about her. So it's not just without and the clans without, it's within the clans themselves.
And could you talk a little bit about how different the Mackenzies and the Frasers are? It's a very different world. Very different clans, different personalities.
Fraser's eyes are further apart.
Excuse me? Mackenzie's sound funny.
We'll see.
Well, there are these rivalries between clans within the clans.
I'll leave it with that, by the way.
And there are also some love rivalries going on. I mean, poor Murtaugh, Rory. Outlander fans know that Murtaugh has always had an unrequited crush on Ellen, but they didn't get to see any of it. So he's also really good friends with Brian. So tell us about how that plays out.
Yeah, it sucks to be Murtaugh sometimes. Especially in this where he starts so wide-eyed and he thinks he's really in with a chance. And then he sees his best friend and cousin and he looks like that. And you just kind of have to give up pretty quickly. And then that little bit of hope keeps shining through. means he keeps waking up every morning thinking, maybe today's the day. And then he sees Jamie take his top off and he goes, that's not today. But it's the same old story. There's two guys, there's someone that they both like, and the guy with the big guns win.
Happens.
Oh, we'll see how that plays out. It's a pretty interesting. Is it possible he'll find some love, Murtagh?
For Murtagh, yeah. I mean, like I say, he's full of hope, and I don't know if you've been to the Scottish Highlands, but there are a lot of women just walking around, single women, and yeah. So I'm on the lookout. So open to all offers.
Ladies free? Anyone?
There we go.
There's a few hands over.
Well, Sam and Seamus, Matt was just talking about the rivalry between these two guys. Very, very different guys. But the series opens with the death of Ellen Dougal and Colm's father, Red Jacob, and the battle of succession begins. So how far do you think each of these guys would go to claim control?
I would say however far you guys think they will go, it gets much worse. It gets, yeah.
However far Dougal goes, Colm will go further.
Yeah, so yeah, we're probably going to have you guys screaming at us through the screen.
Yeah. It's quite frustrating. And when they talk to each other, just nothing gets in. It's just a brick wall to each other. A shouting match. But yeah, you'll have to wait and see.
Does one of them tend to be more warlike than the other one? More aggressive, quick to fight?
This guy.
Yeah, I will be led. That's
We'll see.
So what was it like doing some of these fight scenes that you had to do for the show?
The fight scenes were phenomenal. That was my favorite part of work. I love working with Dom and the fight scene. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of enjoyment to be had, and yeah, it's an ace part of work. I can't really call it work. Just coming in and swinging swords around, rolling around in the mud. A lot of sprinting though. I could really eat all of this food to be as big as Graham McTavish, and then Matt has me sprinting in like every episode, 3 scenes an ep. A lot of sprinting. Yeah, it's good fun.
Matt, you need to have your actors running around.
Well, he's always in a hurry to get something.
He's always eating, that's why. He needs to burn off the calories he's eating. Get the size of the man.
Subliminal messaging, yeah.
Well, Harriet, you've got these kind of tough brothers to deal with here, right? So this is a time when women aren't allowed to make a lot of their own choices, especially when it comes to marriage. But how does Ellen play to her brother's strengths and weaknesses to her own gains? And do her brothers underestimate her?
I think they definitely underestimate her. I think Ellen, she's different because her father educated her, which was unusual for women at the time. So the sad thing is she would make an excellent lad, except that she's a woman.
We'll see.
Really, she should have been led. Like, she would have
It's
been.
complicated.
She would have been the best. I mean, she's the oldest, she's the cleverest. But instead, she uses her powers of persuasion and how well she knows these guys inside out in order to engineer a situation, I guess, sort of to her own advantage and also for the greater good of the clan. She's a little puppet, and she uses their biggest insecurity, which is kind of the fact that Dad didn't really believe in either of them. He knew
You really
that they
went
were-
there here.
Sorry, it's
It's our
true.
first Comic-Con.
It's true.
Thank you.
But together, they're perfect,
Yes.
right? Just individually. Sam's giving me evil.
Here's the goal.
One's got the brains, one's got the brawn. So individually, they've not quite got everything they need.
You're both actually thinking which one's which.
Am I
I'm man in the minion suit.
Guys, do you think they envy their sister a little bit? Because, she got such great treatment from their father.
I think they'd mean, you'll see where that development takes place, but I think they'll struggle to admit it. They're jealous of this love that Ellen has received from Red Jacob. It's sad, really, and it's a story. My arc is like a boy just wanting a father's approval, and I think that's so relatable for young men. And they're so young as well. When we see in Blood of My Blood, they're young men thrown into a world to fight for leading a society, an ancient society. Like, it's how many young men these days are doing that, you know? But yeah, there's a lot of envy to that, but there's also a lot of love playing out throughout the season. So yeah.
I think she kind of gets away with it because Colum's blinded by the idea of success and power, and Dougal's blinded by the idea of power and following various women around Leoch. So she sort of takes advantage of that gap and slides in a bit of puppeteering.
Yep.
Well, we actually have another clip to show you. Speaking of headstrong women, we finally get to see where Claire got all of her wit and intelligence. Blood of My Blood isn't just about Brian and Ellen's story. We'll also get to meet Claire's parents and learn about their love story. And as we learned from the trailer, we can't believe anything we thought we knew about them. So let's take a look at this clip of Julia and Henry taking a holiday after the war. We saw a brief tease in the trailer of them holding her as a baby. Will we get to meet a younger version of Claire in Blood of My Blood?
Maybe. Spoiler alert.
Exactly. That's about all you're getting.
Maybe.
We just get to hear about her. We do get to see the baby scene, so...
Maybe isn't a no.
I mean, I think in the trailer when Julia was holding the baby, we could tell that Claire was a very smart child. We could already see that.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get a few more teases about that. What did you guys think of that clip? Was that amazing? Well, Hermione, Julia and Henry's love story is built across letters to each other during the war. What was it like to develop chemistry with Jeremy when so many of your early scenes were these letters and these voiceovers that you were doing?
Well, Jeremy and I have known each other for 10 years, so maybe 12 now actually. We met on a job when I was 19 or 20, so we've had years of friendship. And so when we walked into our chemistry test, it was sort of already kind of laid the groundwork basically. And so we talked about it, and we were saying that those scenes when they are together, we have to feel the love and we have to feel the passion because they spend so much time apart. It's important that we feel the heat, but also the knowing and the deep understanding of each other too.
Well, I was actually on set for that day when you shot that holiday scene.
Yeah.
Is it hard to do a love scene with someone that you've just been friends with for so long?
Yeah, I think Jeremy put it as doing sex scenes was not something he was going to tick off his friendship bucket list. So yeah, it was definitely something. But we know each other. What's so nice is you trust each other and you know each other, and we made jokes out of it, and that's a trust there that means the whole thing is actually pretty painless, I'd say.
Yeah, sometimes I think you said you were laughing during those scenes that you had to...
A lot of laughing.
to pull yourself back to being serious.
Definitely, yeah. There's one point where Jeremy went, right, no, concentrate. Let's go.
What do you think makes their love so enduring, despite all the obstacles?
I think the way they meet is so special because they first connect through words and letters, so it's a real soul connection. There's nothing physical. It has to purely be off both of their kind of artistic sentiment, but also their intelligence and their love of literature and things that are really core to both of them. So when they do finally meet, I mean, thank God they do fancy each other because it would have been a lot of letter writing for not a lot of payoff if not. And there is that immediate connection. So once they do finally get together, it is it's physical, but it's also this deep mental connection that they formed over however many letters. Yeah.
So what can you tease about their respective journeys in the 1700s without giving anything away? I know, but what keeps them going when they find themselves? I mean, we've seen where she finds herself in 1714. What a horrible shock.
terrible, terrible life for Julia. I think again they write, but they don't. The letters, they aren't necessarily going to send the letters, but they're writing to keep themselves sane, because I think that's how they knew how in the early stages of their romance. I would say that Henry's journey is a little more, that he has a little more agency at the beginning. Julia has a little less agency, but over time she kind of works her way through her wit and her intelligence again into a not much more comfortable situation. She's still imprisoned in some capacity, but she works her way up into more of a position of agency. I'm trying not to spill anything here. I'm just saying the same words over and over again. But I'm desperate.
Matt and I are watching you like,
I
don't
can
say anything.
By the way, good team there. No one helped her out.
Well, we all remember, all the Outlander fans remember when Katrina, as Claire, first realized she had traveled through those stones. Is it a similar experience, would you say, for these two women falling into these times when these are women who have so much agency in their lives, but is it a similar journey, would you say?
You're like agency.
Agency. I think Julia's a modern woman as well, and she's part of the suffragette movement. She is working in a redaction office. She's an independent woman living alone. So yeah, she's going back to the 1700s. Absolutely, it's a step backwards. And I think, like Claire, she has a rude awakening with opening her mouth and saying what she thinks. So yes, quite similar in that respect. Yeah.
There's definitely a like mother, like daughter situation. Things are not easy for Julia, just like they weren't for Claire.
We do see in the trailer that Ellen and Julia meet. We did see that briefly. So I would love you, Matt and Meryl, if you could talk about what can you hint about their interactions? And will there be cross connections between these two couples?
Yes, as I said earlier, the idea was to not only have them go back in time, but to cross paths. They will form relationships, bonds that are very important to how Jamie and Claire will eventually become Jamie and Claire. I like to at least call it the love stories that tell the love story.
Meryl, would you like to add to that at all?
It's hard to add to that perfect answer, but no, I mean, same. I think, once again, this idea that the two couples cross, and also that Claire's parents were back in a time when could Claire, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the series, but could Claire have met her parents at some point is so intriguing, but also the fact that this love story, Jamie and Claire were always meant to be together. And this show is a perfect example of that, this fated love. And if love is true, it will find a way, I think is a perfect example here.
Well, Jamie, how happy are you that Harriet and Hermione's paths crossed? It was pretty fortunate.
Yeah, I don't think Brian would have been very successful had it not been to Julia's agency. It was a lot of wingman involved. Wingwomaning, impersonating. A lot of help. So I think Brian's very fortunate, and that's all I'll say about that.
Well, Harriet and Hermione, can you talk about that too? What can you say about these two women and sort of
Nothing.
how they were together? Why
What are you doing?
Maybe were they trusting each other? Emotional.
Oh, right.
They're not going to do
I think
No.
what we can say in that scene, I know I was really excited for that scene, and because that was the first time, it was the first time our paths crossed, and not in real life, but in the show, and we both got quite emotional, I think. I think it was really nice for Ellen, especially because she doesn't have much interaction with women in the show, other than Mrs. Fitz. It was really nice to sort of find a confidant in Julia, I think, and I think we can say that Julia's kind of instrumental in Brian and Ellen getting together. Thanks, babes. No worries.
Well, you said it, so.
She's actually quite nosy if you think about it. It really gets in there.
I know we have to be very careful here about what we give away. I want to, since we have so many fans here, I'm going to open up the Q&A for the audience a little bit early. So let's start with the Q&A for the cast. Who has the mic?
Hi, my name is Glenn. It struck me when I saw the teaser that you use a lot of military historical battles, and I noticed that in Outlander it was the same thing as teasers, and I've always been drawn to that almost immediately. Like you had the World War I trench battle going, and immediately I'll start thinking, well, which battle is it, or what's going on? How are the characters are going to be, what rank are they going to be? My question is this, kind of the thought process that you've had with Outlander and the new show as far as including those major or important historical battles?
Well, with Henry, to speak to the World War I, is, he was an able-bodied man in, the 1900s when the war started, and he would absolutely have gone to fight. So when we were crafting his story, we knew he had to go to World War I, and then the fact that we wanted to show it, we wanted to really show what he has gone through, both emotionally and physically, to show that he could survive also in the 1700s when he went back. It shows he was a warrior, but also the traumatic effects of that war will carry on through the seasons. And that was a big element that we wanted to show as well, that people who fought in this war, it didn't just leave you when you came home. And also for Julia's character, we wanted to show the war back home and what Julia goes through. And I think you saw some of that in the clip as well, that didn't affect just the people in the trenches, it affected this whole nation. And it still does. I mean, they have a channel in the UK called the Yesterday Channel, and you see World War I all the time. And it just is always there, present. So we knew we had to dig into that.
Thank you. Hi.
Oh, hello there. We heard mention of Uncle Lamb, which I said a hallelujah to. Are we going to actually meet Uncle Lambert?
Yes.
Something to look forward to.
That's a great question. One-word answer. I love it. Moving right along.
Who's up next?
Do we get any hot villains?
Also, yes. Well, I mean, you have to decide, but so subjective.
Well, we usually do have some pretty hot villains in the Outlander universe, so that is a very good question.
Well, one of our villains actually thinks he's very hot, so. Yeah. I know he thinks so.
Hi.
Hello. My name is Cutter Ray Palacios, and I work as a mental health coordinator. You were talking about traumatic events playing out through the storyline, and I'm curious what approach you took to caring to the mental health needs of the cast and crew.
I feel that when we come into work, one of the first things that we were told was, this was a family. You heard it, Sam and Rich and Sophie talk about, this family over and over again. And, I think I speak on behalf of everybody. Like, it really does feel like a family, and we can go to pretty much anyone between the cast, production, Matt Marrell, about anything, and there is that trust that we've built, over just one season, so I feel like everybody feels like they're supported. So no matter what they want to voice, any concerns or anything, there's always a place to go to, whether it be castmates, production, even people at Stars who have been fantastic. I just feel really supportive.
Absolutely.
We also put out, trigger warnings that if there's going to be scenes that have trauma in them or any whatever it is, we put out warnings to everybody, the crew and the staff, that if you want to not be there that day, then you're more than welcome not to. And we want to protect everybody on the show.
Great, thank you. Hi. Oh, you brought your wee bairn.
Yes. Who's a wee baby? Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So my question
question was about the show and how accessible it is. How accessible it would be to people who haven't seen Outlander.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, we didn't hear the question.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Everyone was admiring your baby.
Thank you.
I think it's yes, yeah. This is the fun.
Let's hear your question, everybody. Let's let her ask her question.
Sorry. Yeah, this is his first Comic-Con, but I plan to bring him every year from now on. But my question was about the show and how accessible it is to folks who haven't seen Outlander.
I don't think you wouldn't have had to see one episode of Outlander to be fully involved with Bob. I think you can, you'll fall in love. I think you'll fall in love with all these characters. Which one would be your favorite is up to you, but I think that you don't need to know anything, the lore. We're actually going backwards, so we're going to tell how the Outlander began, and I think you can enjoy this show all the way through and then start Outlander, or you can start enjoying this show and jump over to Outlander to get some of the tidbits and start to understand some of the Easter eggs.
Great. Hi, who's up next? Hi.
My name is Val English. I'm just curious if there is some Gallic also in Blood of My Blood. You mentioned in the last panel that you thought it was important to include in it.
Could you hear that? I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Okay. I'm curious if there's Gallic included in Blood of My Blood, like you did in Outlander, the Gallic language.
Oh, the Gallic language, is it included in this show as well?
Yeah, I do a scene. Do you, Seamus? I don't speak Gaelic.
Go on. Do you know any words?
Chillicard? That'll do.
Are you fluent?
No, sadly not fluent. Not many people are in Scotland these days, tend to be in like the Highlands and Islands. But in our story, people in Colm were speaking a bit of Gaelic. In those days it was much more popular. So yes, there will be some Gaelic.
How was that for the cast, learning the language? Who knew something before and for whom was it completely new?
I think I used to know a couple of words, but they weren't appropriate. So, yeah, they didn't make the cut.
Yeah, pretty much those are the first words anyone learns in it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone else want to add to that, as far as the...
Well, first of all, we have to learn the accent before we then go and learn Gaelic. So it's baby steps. I remember at the end of the first week, someone on the crew came over to me and asked me where in Italy I was from. Which I think wasn't a compliment on the accent. So I leave the Gaelic to others.
Yeah, you do have a wee Italian flair to you.
Finally, the compliment comes.
I'd like to add he was holding a box of pasta at the time.
We can tell you guys have a lot of fun on set. I think it's pretty fun.
Oh no, absolutely none at all. No, we don't have any laughs. It's a very serious working environment, and we're only here because we have to be. We're not enjoying ourselves at all.
Who's next up?
Hey there, I'm Pia. My question to you is, if you time traveled, what would you miss the most from the time you left?
Great question.
Great question. Love your costume.
Who would like to take that?
Wi-Fi. Yeah, what? You live one day without Wi-Fi. See, I know you.
Some of us are old enough to remember a time without Wi-Fi. I would miss the toilets, flushable toilets.
Hermione Hermione, is there something you would...
No. I was just joining him in that. New comment.
Anybody else, guys? What would you miss the most?
I just thought of my mum. I was like, I'll miss my mum. So poignant.
I think the various human rights you'd lose if you go back in time, that's probably quite a bad thing.
All right, well, I think we have time for one more question.
Yes. Yes. Hello, I'm Graham, and I have a question for Sam. First of all, congratulations on the wig and the beard. It's so good. I mean, and the fact that you wear it out in public is just really, really, really tremendous. I haven't seen any of the show yet, and I genuinely am really looking forward to it. But I wanted to ask you, how did you dive into the soft, sensitive side? In your own time, Sam. Not your work. Please.
Thank you.
Well, sir.
Dad, Graham, real straight. I met Graham for the first time about 48 hours ago, and it really felt like I'd met my dad. It was very strange having studied the man for the last 18 months. And how did I dive into Dougal's soft side, as you put it so gently? So I would say I fell in love with Dougal the moment I laid eyes on you. And I could think of nothing better than showing how he developed that rough, callous skin that you show so well. And how he lost all of that hair.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I started, with a full head of hair in, just before season 1, and it's all gone. Well, thank you very much, Sam. It's lovely to meet you, and I'm gonna leave now.
These two love stories and where they go from here on Friday, August 8th with a special 2-episode premiere. Only on Stars. Thank you so much. Let's give them a big hand.
Well, that's it from us from San Diego Comic-Con. I'm Marlise.
And I'm Elyse.
And we're Outlandish.
Are we Bomb-dish?
We're Bomb-dish.
Bomb-dish?
Blood of my blood dish.
Maybe we're Bomb-dish.
Figure it out. I don't know. Bloody dish. Bloody dish.
That doesn't sound good.